These two projects just showed up today. This is going to be a more of a long-term project. This is going to be a quick turnaround and get it done and get it, just get finished. Just wanted to show you. Here's like the complete ends of the spectrum. This is probably the oldest rifle we'll have in the shop. This is an 1873 Trap Door Springfield. I haven't really looked at it thoroughly yet. I'm just giving it a once over. Like I said, just showed up. And this is a Remington 700 in 308 Winchester. This one's going to get a scope mount and needs to be cleaned up a little bit. But here, let's take a look at some things that I just noticed just right off. All right, this Remington 700. I haven't looked at the bore yet, but we can see. I don't know how well you're picking this up. This is a used rifle, and the owner of this just got the gun. He wants a scope mount and a scope mounted on top. And we're going to put a rail, and we're going to see where it's tapped here. But it looks like there's some type of rubbery. I don't know what this is. I don't know how I'm going to get this off. There's something on there from the previous owner who had a scope mounted. And let's see if we can get a close up of this. All right, you can see there's some type of, I don't know if it was an adhesive, some type of rubber. You see the remains of it. There was a scope on here before, and it looks like some type of, like I said, almost like a rubbery, like an 8 RTV or something like that. We'll go try to clean this up, and we'll get a rail on this and a scope mount, and then to get this out the door. Let's take a look at that trap door now. All right, this is that. This is an 1873 Trap Door Springfield. The first thing you see how shiny this is. Somebody put some type of urethane on here, and they didn't do a very good job. You can see this is a spring-loaded clip, and the urethane right over it. So this clip is no longer even moving. If we look down here, there's another. This is it's a spring-loaded pin. And what this does, this is what retains that band in place. And you can see how this. You see where that spring pushes in and pops up. The one down here, and you can see it's got a nice little coating of urethane right on and it's all gummed up, and this spring is no longer even functional. This band is just kind of on there just by friction, so it's not being retained by that clip. Let's take a look at this action really quick. Now keep in mind, up until this point, every military arm was a muzzle loader. You had to set the butt of the rifle on the ground. You had to load through the top. Now all of a sudden we had metallic cartridges. Okay, let's go to, there's a safety notch. There's a half cock. We'll lift this open, and now all you need to have, we'd have this breech loader, where we could, drop in a metallic cartridge, a 4570 in this case, close it up, bring it to full cock, pull that trigger, let that baby down, and fire. Now you want to go to your next shot, eject that old one out. So much quicker than loading, ball and powder, and tapping it down with a ramrod and packing it in there. So now we've advanced to that metallic cartridge, and even some of the older muzzle loaders, they had the end cut off, and they had this trap door mechanism added on. So you had some conversions. It was such a huge improvement over a muzzle loader that they took a bunch of those muzzle loaders out of storage and they converted them to trap doors. Kind of a unique thing. Then the evolution from here then became the bolt action, but this was quite a big step forward. Here we can see US model 1873. This is that trap door mechanism. You hear it called a Trap Door Springfield, model 1873. This is in 4570, and not the 4570 you're shooting today, out of your Marlin or something like that. This would be a black powder 4570 with that 45 caliber and 70 grains of black powder, but kind of a nice looking old rifle. This is one of my favorite features. Is that eagle. I like the eagle in the US Springfield. Such a nice looking logo there. And you can see, I know, like I said, I haven't really spent a whole lot of time on this rifle yet, but you do see, here's a screw that's kind of buggered up a little bit. We'll take care of that. We'll try to straighten that out the best we can. There's your proof P. So this gun, this gun has, like I said, it has some kind of varnish on the stock. We're gonna have to strip this off. We're definitely not gonna sand it. We're gonna have to do some kind of a stripper on this to get this off, and then it's gonna get a boiled linseed oil finish when it's all done. Here, just notice this butt plate. Very, very proud. You see how that's sticking out? Very, very proud. I don't know if this stock had maybe been sanded before, but we did see that proof piece. I don't think it was sanded. That might just be the way it is. We'll get rid of that shine, so it doesn't look like a piece of furniture. We'll get it looking more like a mid 19th century rifle. Here's just an example of why you need a set of gunsmithing screwdrivers. You can see this is like the most obvious screw on the gun. That's one that holds the hammer, and you can see somebody boogered it all up because they had a screwdriver blade that did not fit that screw perfectly. All right, if you have a tapered head like a carpenter type screwdriver, it's gonna bugger up the head of your screws. Get gunsmithing screwdrivers, all right, and get ones that fit the screw you're working on. All right, should be fitting exactly. You don't want to have a screw like that, especially on such a dominant piece. All right, not your typical day here in the shop, but just kind of fun. This is the oldest rifle we have here in the shop, this 1873, and I think by the serial number, this puts it maybe around 1880s. Have to do a little more research into this one, and then that Remington 700. It's probably one of the more modern rifles that has come through. It does need they both need good cleaning, but going to be completely different projects. And I apologize, this is more of a teaser, but 2 projects. I'm going to do videos on these later. But thanks for watching.